Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel, and this is a little bit of a spoiler we have. So, as you might have figured out, if you did not watch last week's videos at all, I was away at MetroCon, but while I was out of town, I also hit a whole bunch of toy shops because I made a whole, just geek vacation out of the entire week. So, ended up at a bunch of places you're going to hear about in a later video. But for now, I thought I would do something just for me. So, in front of you is Robots in Disguise 2001 Stormjet, a repaint of Beast Machine's Jetstorm's Deluxe Class toy. Now, I've had this toy a couple times, both as Jetstorm and as Skywarp in Universe 1.0, but this one is special. This one is a little bit unique. So, RID 2001 was the very first toy line I wanted to 100% complete. I wasn't mint in boxing. I wanted to have a full collection on a shelf of every single one. I guess I was just excited because Autobots and Decepticons were back. So in this case, this was a weird release of a figure. So if I take a look on the back here, you can see it's cross-sold with Sideburn and X-Brawn, two toys that had been out months before this toy had ever seen the shelves. The thing was, as good as my area was for toys at the time, this is the one figure I never found. So Stormjet has been eluding me for almost 25 years. But on a trip to Acme Superstore, it was one of the figures that they happened to have. The price was okay. I have no qualms over opening this thing up because, frankly, it's the one RID 2001 toy I never got to experience in this form. Yes, I experienced this toy in the past as other repaints, so I know what I'm getting into. But at the same time, this is special. This kind of mentally completes a collection that technically doesn't exist anymore because I've sold toys off from that line since then. But let's crack into it now, shall we? And we'll finish my RID 2001 experience now. So back in the day, I would cut the bubble with an X-Acto knife because I was keeping the card backs. These days, well, I don't care. Oh, that feels good. That feels good. Because I was saving the card backs, that is literally the first time I've ripped open a box from RID 2001. I like that. I liked that. Okay. Instructions, don't need you. I have transformed this toy several times, and it's funnier if I mess around with it and get it wrong. So, we're going to point out a couple things here first. So, you see all that crust on there? So don't worry, that is not damage to the toy. That is not anything going wrong. What you are looking at is what used to be the rubber bands that hold these parts in place during shipping and packaging, etc. So yeah, this isn't anything that's going to hurt the toy. It's going to have a little bit of a gumminess to it, but it does come right off. So I'm just kind of I've got a little stiff little old paintbrush. Doesn't have a handle anymore. I'm just going over really quick just to kind of scrape as much of that off as I can. Yeah, as you can see, it really doesn't hold on at all. Some of the gummier parts that are still a little bit rubbery, those I will have to go in and clean a little bit more properly, but for the purposes of the video, that just sweeps right out. So let me go ahead and just clean this out. There we go. Just make sure this guy looks as good as possible once we actually get him out of the bubble. Okay. Also, I wanted to remember, these are old toys. I haven't opened one of the older toys, those little plastic bands in there. Yeah, those have metal wires running through them. They're like proper twist ties, so heavier cutters are suggested for getting some of these things apart and out of the packaging, just in case you happen to open up an old figure. That or get really good at undoing steel cable. One or the other. Alright, and then the missiles are usually frictioned in, so just find the round part and push from the other side to get those out. A little bit of toy tips for people opening up old toys, for any new-ish collectors who need to go back and buy the old toys. It feels weird, man. It feels weird to be holding on to it, like, to actually, like, have a figure in my hands that escaped me for so long. I don't know why. This is the only toy that never came out in my area. I actually had a friend back in the day who did get a hold of it for me and was going to mail it out to me, and it never left, like, the passenger side of his car. Never did see that toy. Never really talked to him much after all the excuses that got left behind on that one. But, you know, such is life. Such things happen. I'm getting rubber band crumbs all over my review stage. I didn't want to do, like, a proper review of him, but, you know, he does look neat. So, like, we can just basically just talk about how things used to be. So, obviously, the name is Stormjet because the name's Jetfire. The name Skyfire was taken at the time by a different figure in this line, oddly enough. So I guess they didn't want to do Jetfire because the two together in the same line might have been confusing. But no, this is interesting. Like, this is fun. This is kind of fun. Like, back in the day when they could just, like, take a jet figure, throw the white, red, and black color scheme on it, and just call it a Jetfire homage. That's what you don't get anymore. You don't get the homage, like the fun little, like, what if of throwing a color scheme onto a toy to reference a character while not necessarily remaking that character. Stormjet is, in, you know, the way this works, an entirely new beast. So this is, you know, technically a new character who's just kind of dressed up as an old one. You know, so things like that you don't really get anymore, you know, and you lead to some fun little combinations. You know, keep in mind, this was a Viacon, dark color schemes. These guys were bad guys, intimidating. To suddenly come up with, like, the white and red heroic looking jet, yeah, it's a little bit different, and you don't get that nearly as much anymore. And it's a lost art, is what it is. Okay, let's see if everything still functions. So, okay, that's okay, the snap is good. Okay, but the spring forward is very soft. So, yeah, that might have shown a little bit of its age. But still works. I'll give it that. I'm presuming the missile launchers still work. Let's see here. Yeah, because this is... Yeah, alright. Let's see. Yeah, so I only got a whole review stage to fire at now. Okay. So those launcher springs still work. Always weird about, like, springs that have managed to stay in the one position for, like, 20 plus years and still work. Now, can I remember how to transform this? Also, if you see me, like, rubbing my fingers on such, there is some tackiness to the toy. I don't think it's actually, like, just from the toy's age itself. I think it's all from the rubber bands and just, like, the leftover residue on them. I need to wash my hands after this. Okay, so, yeah, open up these. Remember that part. And there's more gunk inside. There's more gunk inside here. Ah, nasty. I'm probably going to find more because it was going through the toy and, like, all around certain parts. So, yeah, cleanup's probably not over on this one. Alright. Undo those. That's the arms. Flip those out. That's the feet. That's the hands. Alright, all of this. Okay, open that part up. Yep, clip in there. That still feels good. Nice. That's also the fun thing about opening up these old figures and why I do videos like this, is because it gives me, like, an appreciation and some modern knowledge of just how these toys felt when you open them up back in the day. You know, because, yes, like, one of the toys I picked up on my toy hunt was a loose Beast Wars figure, but I don't know how it feels compared to like how it first came out of the box, or how solid the figures from 2001 actually were. This gives me a little bit of awareness of like, this is okay, this is how they felt. Here's something I miss. Parts that were screwed together and everything looks solid. Ugh. We lament and move on. That's one thing I kind of advocate when toys are kind of hard to find, or like newer, like modern toys are starting to get like a little bit too pricey. Go back and get some vintage stuff, because the price on those is pretty much like staying where they've been for a while now. And like, yeah, like there's some good, like we've all skipped some toys that ended up being really, really good. I love how this guy, okay, so I haven't transformed this guy in a hot minute, but I really like how all that folds over. That's actually a really cool little transformation sequence where all that kind of folds over and opens up on itself. All right, need to get these things connected onto those. Yeah, how do I line all of this up to do that? All right. I'm not going to cut to this. I'm not going to like edit this out or anything. We're just going in. Hang on. Need to get in close on this one because there's something that's misaligned. It's one thing that is still universal on a lot of these Transformers, young, new or old. Like some these, there's always these finicky little transformations that if everything isn't in exactly the right spots, you are not going to get things to line up the way they need to. And this is proving to be one of those times. There we go. So I had to make sure the hinges got down flush to the chest completely. Oh, I've only got it done on one side. Ooh. I don't like how it's torquing either. Oh, jeez. Okay, so I'm going to do it better later. Because, honestly, like, this is already a bit of a tainted experience because this toy just feels gross. The toy feels gross because of all that rubber residue. So I guess this makes for like a good word of warning video for anyone buying the older figures. Have wet wipes ready. I think that's like the best. I think that's probably the best advice I have for you when it comes to like opening up the old ones. Yeah, I've opened up figures like that before, but I can remember the rubber bands being completely dry and not having that issue. All right, so I'm not going to be able to do it completely clean here. He's going to be a little bit open here, but you get the idea. Man, it's weird. It's genuinely weird just having him in front of me now. Ooh, I don't like that. Hang on. Should be folding at the elbow, but oh, ooh. That's weird. I don't like how that looks. Something's stiff here. Something's stiff. Something's gone wrong. Let me see. Is it not pulled out? No, it's screwed into place. Can't go any further. Okay, so this is like, it's stuck in position here. Okay, this is the part where I abandon any attempt to actually pose this guy, and I will now have to refer to more careful means to get him properly suited. So it looks like some of the parts on him are just like way too stiff, and if I try to like bend the elbow joint like right there, if the bicep is bending, so that's gonna have to be fixed. Yeah, and obviously I need to go through and see like what's gone wrong in the transformation here that I can't get these two parts to connect the way they're supposed to. This is just like generally just fiddling around with the toy until everything feels like it's in the correct spots. That'll come in time. There we go. So at least he looks the way he's supposed to look. Let me get him into frame a little bit better here so you can see the full height of him. So if you want to be sad about the current state of a Transformer toy, see, what do I have? What do I have here? So let's take like the current like Hearts of Steel Starscream. That's like a $25 toy, and you can see he is smaller, not as bulky. If I put Alchemist Prime next to him, I've got Alchemist Prime from one of the last reviews I did. I can put him there, and he looks better. He looks better. They're about as bulky as each other. I will see. Okay, Alchemist is a little bit lighter, because obviously there's more hollowed parts, and they've been a little bit more careful about how much plastic they use. But size-wise, we haven't lost a whole lot between these two, have we? No, that's actually surprising. Like in my head, I thought Stormjet would be a lot bigger than like our current deluxes. And when you're talking about like a specialty thing like the Starscream that's probably not going to get another run, then yeah, what am I talking about? It's a Seeker. It's definitely getting another run. But then you have like a modern mold like that's probably going to get reused, so it gets to be a little bit bigger, etc., etc. Yeah, this is like kind of surprising here. So, yeah, it's interesting in my head because it feels complete now. You know, like my experience with this toy line feels like it's completely done. I do want to keep him around for a bit because I do like the toy, but as said, he's gonna need a few fixes. He's gonna need a better cleanup job because, like, yeah, like I feel gross. I feel nasty now. So we're gonna wrap it up there. So thank you very much for watching. This is me completing my RID 2001 experience. I don't know how. Obviously, there's like age issues here that are keeping this from being like completely accurate. But like, I genuinely wonder how much of this guy is the same as how he was in 2001. Because like a lot of the joints are nice and stiff. Maybe a little bit better in the ball sockets and the hips. That'd be all the same. But obviously, this problem I'm having with like the elbows, that should not be a thing. So I'm going to go fix this guy up. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for sticking around while I sate my curiosity over a 24-year-old figure. And thank you very much for watching in general. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.